in China. You're kind of studying with the best Chinese doctors in the world.
When I was a kid growing up in New York, if you felt sick, you went to the doctor, and he probably gave you a pill. And you probably did feel better ultimately. But today, things have changed. You will actually have a legitimate conversation about pairing Western and Eastern medical methodologies, and that's a big change. Stephen is in his final year of his studies, and today, he's treating a patient. To alleviate her condition, Stephen is going to perform acupuncture. This is used to release the flow of energy known as qi. Practitioners believe that qi travels throughout the body on different paths, meeting at the top of the head.
When you said Chinese culture, they meant traditional Chinese culture. And that was, by definition, unmodernized. But as a country develops, it then begins to rediscover itself.
Modern China somehow should be built on top of your heritage, but drawing the wisdom of the past into the future.
Obviously, I think good Western medicine and good Chinese medicine are both just seeking for efficacy.
A knowledge of TCM also proved the secret to finding a new, successful treatment for malaria. Inspired by an ancient TCM remedy, Chinese chemist Tu Youyou found that the Artemisia plant is effective against malaria. Her discoveries have saved millions of lives and won her a Nobel Prize.
The real source of wealth in the world is the creation of knowledge. And so the more knowledge is spread, the more everybody benefits, because knowledge multiplies.
No, I think that the Chinese do now, or are developing a vision for the world. They do acquire a new mindset, a new imagination.
With this new mindset comes a confidence to share not only China's ancient wisdom, but also knowledge hard-won in today's world, including a deeper understanding of our relationship with the environment. In northern China, imagination and experimentation have revealed insights relevant to desertified areas worldwide. Simply planting trees was not enough to hold back the desert. Through years of trial and error, local people have found out exactly how to revive this environment.
China really will be the leader, I believe, in terms of setting the agenda for the environmental aspects, not just at home, but also abroad. And we know that they're using a lot of innovation in that respect.
Now, 1/3 of this area is green with trees, and delegations from as far away as Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have come to discover the lessons learnt in Kubuchi. Protecting the environment is probably the single biggest issue that is facing our generation. In December 2015, in a historic moment, China and the United States led over 190 countries to commit to action on climate change under the United Nations Paris Climate Agreement.
作为全球治理的一个重要领域，应对气候变化的全球努力是一面镜子，给我们思考和探索未来全球治理模式，推动建设人类命运共同体带来宝贵启示。
I think Xi's achievements thus far, from a global perspective, would be having brought about a fundamental U-turn in Chinese policies on climate change. In terms of consequences for the planet, to have China on board, I put that down as a win.
I see a newfound confidence that means that China and Xi Jinping are really taking their place on a global stage. China is getting more deeply involved in a wide range of global institutions. China has become a major funder of the World Health Organization and the World Bank. Their voice is heard in the G20 and at the UN Security Council. As China takes a more prominent role on the world stage, I'm keen to understand, what kind of global power will China be?
In 2014, the Ebola crisis had a major impact on Western Africa. China sent medical personnel to help the victims, as well as disease prevention specialists to try and stop the outbreak. This was a first in China, the very first time that they sent aid to a foreign country in response to a health crisis.
We'll fight Ebola together.
By 2016, China had sent medical aid to 69 countries, including 600,000 medical personnel at a cost of $60 billion US. Dr. Li Lian was trained in China as part of this aid program. Now she's back in Rwanda, working alongside her Chinese mentor, Dr. Liu.
I really wanted to go to China because I heard Chinese, they do work very hard and they are developing very fast. So I thought maybe there's something I can learn from them.
天津不好学的，他现在基本上产科门诊现在基本上除了就普通的没有特别大的异常的，就差不多了。
Today, they're operating on a young woman pregnant with twins. Time is of the essence. 3 lives are at risk.
Nobody wants to feel like they're the object of charity. But if you give me a tool that I can build my own house or do something myself or educate me, then I feel good and I appreciate it.
Their notion of community and a shared destiny doesn't stop at my Chinese neighbor or the Chinese society. They're very much pushing this idea as a global frame for the way in which the world should engage, one in which we should care about what's happening in countries elsewhere.
Angkor is a world-famous archaeological site in Cambodia and a place with such importance for human history, for understanding civilization and where we've come from, isn't just the responsibility of Cambodia, it's a global responsibility. Liu Yuenda is one of many Chinese conservation specialists who've taken up this challenge of helping preserve our shared global cultural heritage.
当时我很小很小的时候，我们在上小学的时候吧，我记得是，那个时候老师讲的一些世界的几大奇迹，我记得其中之一有一个就是柬埔寨的吴哥窟。
Sites like Angkor need to be protected, and the way to do that is through international collaboration. Local man Nuth Piong is part of the conservation team.
我们所有的就是跟当地的人都非常的融洽，我们就平时的话就像朋友一样，在工作上配合呢，因为长时间的一个配合已经有了一定的默契。
បាទខ្ញុំធ្វើការជាមួយក្រុមចិននេះគឺអត់មានការឧបសគ្គអ្វីទេបាទព្រោះអានេះ
吴哥这个考古，整个吴哥考古公园里面，这里面有很多大大小小很多的遗址，这是一个可以说是全人类的一个文化瑰宝吧。
可以说，不同的宗教、不同的文化这种交流，是人类发展历史的一个主线、主流。
The concept of shared destiny is a very important one. It's a dance between what you do for your self-interest and what you do for the world.
China's position as a sort of leader, as a global power, means more and more responsibilities.
Wherever you go in the world, China is so evident. Not just investing in developing countries, but also taking a role in global institutions. In 2015, Chinese peacekeepers began a tour of duty in South Sudan. They're still there today.
7班乘坐3栋1 9班乘坐3栋3
One of the world's poorest countries, civil war broke out here shortly after independence. The peacekeepers' job is to protect the civilian population against attacks by rival militias. Out on patrol through the bush, they must always be on alert for attack.
This is the UN camp.
The Chinese are becoming not just Chinese citizens, but global citizens. The United Nations peacekeeping operations, I think now China is the biggest single contributor to peacekeeping operations. These are all part of China being much more interested in, willing to participate globally.
After years of war, basic services have broken down. 7 million people in South Sudan are in need of emergency aid. The peacekeepers go into local villages to give vital medical treatment.
Okay, good. And then I think headache.
During this tour of duty in South Sudan, 2 Chinese soldiers were killed. They were among 35,000 Chinese men and women who've served the United Nations as Blue Helmets.
The world reflects on where China is going next.
There's no question of China ever dominating everybody in the world. This is not that kind of world anymore. And China, I think, respects that, understands that.
We are all going to have to learn something from the Chinese state, because the rise of China sets a new bar.
This is a time in geopolitical events that we haven't seen in a very long time. China's going to take a new place in the world.
The One Belt, One Road initiative is one of these incredibly transformative ideas. On paper, it's genius.
How this grand experiment turns out, I don't know. But you've got to say, no one's tried anything like this.
It's not for a few years. This will take a century or more to really fully implement. It's something that the world needs. And it's part of a collective world way of thinking. It's a new way of thinking.
At the heart of today's China stands President Xi.
他是一种改革改为的领导人. He dares to make a decision.
And now, not only have they stood up, but they're standing proud. That's at the heart of Xi Jinping's emotional message.
China, which is strong enough, powerful enough, never to feel fearful for its future sovereignty. China taking a much bolder place in the councils of the region and the world.
愿同广大成员国、国际组织和机构一道，共同推进构建人类命运共同体的伟大进程。